I have used a wide range of different media technologies all throughout the creation of my short film. In this video I will talk about the different technologies I used in pre-production, production, post-production and for the evaluation. In the planning stages I used a variety of online resources to inform my research. Before all of that though, I wrote down all my ideas on paper and drew up a very rough draft of the screenplay. After this I opened up Google Drive, which is a cloud service that I can use at home and school to keep my work consistent between both. I created a Google Docs file and rewrote my screenplay entirely from scratch. I then went over this a couple more times until I was happy with it. After getting the final draft of the screenplay, I drew the storyboards. I initially tried using storyboardthat.com, but found that it didn't have the right tools for what I wanted, and so drew the storyboards out on paper. I then scanned them onto my computer using CamScanner. After this, I started doing research around the thriller genre. I primarily used YouGov Profiles for this, which allows you to look at a film or product to see the average audience who enjoys that product. After looking at Saw and 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was able to come up with an accurate target audience for my own film. The final part of pre-production left to do was the pitch. For this, I used PowerPoint, which I had used a lot in the past and felt was the most appropriate to display all the information I wanted on screen. For filming, I used my phone, a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, and filmed in 1920 by 1080. The phone's camera allowed me to do everything that I needed it to do, including focus pull and controlling the light sensitivity values. The tripod I used was for a camera, and so I had to purchase an additional attachment which would allow me to attach my phone to it. For audio I used an external microphone, which meant that I could capture a better quality of audio. So that I could sync my audio up with the video better, I used a clapperboard. I didn't have a real full-size clapperboard available, and so used a miniature one. I also used a green screen to take the pictures of Daisy for the poster. I edited the video in Adobe Premiere Pro in a resolution of 1920 by 800 in order to give the film a more cinematic feel. Because of this, the top and bottom of each frame was cut out, but this wasn't a huge problem as I only had to adjust a few shots. For some of the sound mixing I used Audacity, which is a free piece of software which allows you to manipulate sound. I used it to change voices to sound like they were coming out of a phone, and also to distort Ben's voice when he calls Daisy. I did this by slowing it down, lowering the pitch, and adding a high pass. In Premiere Pro I used a huge range of different effects to enhance my footage. The most noticeable is the colour grading, which took a long time to get right. The final grading I am happy with, as it shows a huge contrast between the warmth of the house and the cold of the outside. To get this effect I added a slight orange tinge to the shots inside and a blue one to the shots outside. Another thing I enhanced in post-production was the focus pull. This was something that I did whilst filming, but ended up not being too noticeable, and so I had to use the camera blur effect to fix it. I created a mask around Daisy and another around the background. When the focus is on Daisy, I blurred the background mask, and when the focus pulls to the background, I unblur the background and blur Daisy. This creates a subtle but realistic focus pull. After assembling the first cut, I noticed a lot of sharp audio cut-ins, where it would go from no background noise to lots of background noise when a character started to speak. To combat this, I used some white noise that I downloaded from YouTube in the background. I also faded the audio in and out so it wasn't so sharp. These two effects used together smoothed all the audio over. For displaying all my work together in one place, I used Blogger as it is easy to use and allowed me to order my work in the way I wanted. I also used Google Docs and Photos when I needed to format a piece of work in a specific way, something Blogger didn't let me do properly. Question 1 as an essay, question 2 as a Prezi, question 3 as a PowerPoint, and question 4 as a video.